Chapter 3, Enemies. Anna, Brittany, and Jasmine sat by the window in their last class of the day. Anna stared out the window at the soccer field. It's not much of a field, she thought. The grass was mostly brown or gone completely. Even from where she was sitting, she could see rocky patches on the field. And the goals were bent and their nets were torn and falling off in places. Anna, Brittany said, "Wake up." "Huh?" Anna replied, turning away from the window. "Is it time to go?" Brittany shook her head. "No," she replied, "but you were daydreaming. We have to finish this assignment." "I know," Anna said, "just thinking about soccer. I'll miss playing on our field." "That old nasty field," Brittany said, nodding toward the window. "You're crazy." Anna shrugged. "Whatever," she said. "I'm excited about playing at Eastside," Brittany went on in a whisper. "Remember how nice their field is?" "Of course," Anna said, thinking about their rival's perfect athletics field. Jasmine turned around in her seat. "Talking about the soccer team?" she asked. Anna and Brittany nodded. Brittany was smiling, but Anna seemed a little down. "Are you worried, Anna?" Jasmine asked. "Me too." "What are you worried about?" Brittany asked. "Are you kidding?" Jasmine replied. "It's Eastside Middle School, our enemies. What if their players don't even want us around?" Anna opened her eyes wide. "Whoa," she said. "I hadn't even thought of that." Suddenly, Brittany wasn't smiling either. After the bell rang, the girls grabbed their bags and darted from class. Mr. Conrad barely had time to call after them. "Don't forget, page 10 in your textbooks for tomorrow." "Ugh," Brittany said as she jogged towards Coach Zimmerman's office. "Homework already." The coach was waiting for them in her office along with Diana and Eve. "Hi, Di," Anna said with a wave. "Hi, Eve." The other girls smiled and said hello. Then Coach Zimmerman clapped her hands. "Okay, girls," she said, "let's get to the bus." "Take a deep breath, everybody," Brittany said. "We're going where no eagle has gone before." Chapter 4, Always Be Eagles. The yellow bus pulled up in front of Eastside Middle School. All of the girls stared out the windows. Eastside Middle School was huge and it looked brand new. It was all cement and big windows. It was set on a big green field of grass. Green hills rose up behind it. "Here we are," Coach Zimmerman said as the driver opened the door. "Everyone out." The girls got off the bus and stood around their coach. "All right, Eagles," Coach Zimmerman said. "We're guests here at Eastside, so be good." The girls all nodded. "And one more thing," the coach added as they started walking toward the entrance. "You'll be called Tigers now, but you'll always be Eagles to me. Got it?" The girls all smiled. They followed Coach Zimmerman through the school toward the big courtyard where the soccer field was. The coach pushed open the big metal doors and the 5 Eagles stepped outside. The Eastside Middle School soccer field was bright green. The boundaries and center line were all freshly painted. The goals looked brand new. All around the field were stands for students, teachers, and families to watch games. Girls' soccer was very important at Eastside Middle School. "Soccer is way more important here than at Lincoln," Anna mumbled to herself. "What?" Brittany whispered. Anna shook her head. "Nothing," she replied. Then she nodded toward the field. "Check it out." The Tigers were all gathered on the field. There were about 15 of them, and they were all wearing the Tigers uniform. "They look like a commercial," Brittany whispered. The uniforms were bright yellow with red and white numbers and red and white stripes on the sleeves and shorts. One person among the Tigers was wearing a red warm-up jacket and pants. She was about the same height as the players, but her hair was very short and bright white. "That must be their coach," Jasmine said. Eve nodded. "Yep," she said. "I hear she's pretty tough." "Coach Zimmerman?" The coach called. She waved. "Come on over." The girls followed Coach Zimmerman toward the middle of the field. The Eastside girls watched as the Lincoln girls walked up. Anna thought that the Eastside players didn't seem happy to have guests. "Hi," Coach Zimmerman said as she shook the other coach's hand. "Call me Coach Z." "All right, Coach Z," said the other coach. "I'm Coach Susie." Brittany leaned over to Eve. Coach Susie, she whispered. Sounds tough. The other girls giggled. Coach Zimmerman shot them a look and they quieted down. Well, Coach Susie, said Coach Zimmerman, here are your new players from Lincoln Middle School. Coach Susie turned to the Lincoln girls and wrinkled her brow. She said, looks like a good bunch. Then Coach Susie squinted at Anna. Aren't you Anna Reed, she said, and you're Brittany West, right? Anna and Brittany looked at each other. Yup, they replied together. A couple of girls from the East Side team stepped forward. They looked at Anna and Brittany. Coach Susie smiled at Anna and Brittany. I remember you two from last year, she said. For some reason, I thought you were in 8th grade last year from how well you played. But now I remember that you were in 7th. The two girls from East Side who had moved to the front looked at each other. Then they whispered something. Right, Anna said. We're in 8th. Great, Coach Susie said. The Tigers will be lucky to have you. Right, said the taller of the two whispering East Side girls. Very lucky. She glared at Anna.